It's Wednesday, my crew. How's it going? Hello, hello. Thanks for the hydrate. Smooth in a second. I actually just grabbed a fresh cup of water. So here we go. All right. Oh. Stream, live stream. Let me post this real quick. Gotta let people know we're streaming. All right. Today, we're gonna keep working on the game. Probably our last day working on the game this week. Probably tomorrow is gonna be Ludum Dare preparation. Then Friday, Saturday, Sunday is all Ludum Dare all the time. And then I probably won't stream Monday because I usually don't. And then I don't know. We'll see next week. I'll probably play some games on stream, but we'll see how often I do it, for how long. But yeah, we're packed. Our schedule is packed. We are gonna be busy. But right now, what we're doing is we're kind of in the middle of a refactor of the auto tiler so that it can draw better selection boxes and stuff like that. Like little debugger boxes and stuff, like outlines and things like that. And I've realized there's like a big problem with the way I was doing it before, which is I have a totally separate system for rendering that. Rendering these dotted line boxes, which we don't even really render as boxes. We render them right now as flat sheets that you stack, which is not great. And then so I tried working on a different setup yesterday, but I realized the problem was that there are still differences. Like I'm still treating it differently than regular auto tiling. Hey, still needs work, ship it. Rhiannon Journey, welcome in here. How's everyone doing today? Good to see you. So yeah, we're gonna change a bunch of this stuff so that it works basically the same as our regular auto tiler, as our block auto tiler for tile blocks for like the whole pieces. We are just gonna treat it a little differently, like the littlest bit differently. But I realized that was my mistake, was trying to treat it very differently, try to treat it as like a whole different thing, when it should really be basically just the same thing. Like, I'm actually going to get rid of all of this function I wrote. So we can uncomment this. We're going to basically use the same paradigm as the standard auto tiler. And bonjour, Cubist Dev. How's it going? I haven't seen you in a minute. Still needs work, you're tired. I understand. I feel that. But long time, Cubist. We're gearing up for our next Ludum Dare, which starts Friday. It's exciting. How have you been? What have you been up to? It's been a wild, last month was pretty busy. We had a Game Developers Conference here. Rhiannon Journey, you're doing good. You just got back from a walk on your lunch. Perfect 62 degrees over there. Nice. Yeah, that's like the San Francisco perfection, is like that low to mid 60s. Like the mid 60s and sunny is like the best weather in my mind. Yeah, we're gonna Ludum Dare it. You're also gearing up for Ludum Dare? Hell yeah. I need to work on it tonight and tomorrow. I need to record some music, but I have a remastered version of A Following Wind, of our last Ludum Dare game, of our Ludum Dare 55 game. I have a remastered version of it. It's basically done. I want to record some new audio tracks, and then I just want to post it. I just want to ship it. Still needs work. That's like summers in Alaska, mid 60s and sunny. That sounds nice. I don't know why I thought it would get hotter there. I would like Alaska in the summer, except for almost 24 hours of sunlight. Okay, yeah, there we go. I was like, there's gotta be another shoe to drop here. All right, so we're rewriting this whole construction grid thing. We're trashing this whole system for doing it and rewriting it. So let's just get this all out of here because we don't need it. Just throw it away. All right, but now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go up here and we're gonna start pulling things. We're gonna basically rewrite our update tile map data to work with our construction grid, and eventually we might even be able to roll them into very similar function, or have them branch at some point for like the kind of grid that we're trying to auto tile. But yeah, I wanted this to be different than our regular auto tiling setup originally, because like the auto tiling thing is this big array, multi-dimensional array of blocks. And I thought I could make the selection grid thing just an AABB, just a bounding box. And I could, but then we wouldn't be able to capture more complex things that we might do. Like imagine a shift-click selection, like where you're like, I'm gonna shift-click this, and I'm gonna shift-click this, and like you're adding these unusual shapes together to make this selection. Well, you can't just render that with an AABB. You could maybe do it if you had multiple bounding boxes and you like negotiated them, but we already have a process for handling that. We have the block buffer. So I'm just gonna simplify this and use a block buffer for the selection, and probably another one for the used volume. Have I worked with shaders before? Yeah, I've done compute shaders and I've done, you know, material shaders. Not a ton. But like one of the first things I did in Godot was a material shader for our crew members. And then the old stuff I was doing in Unity depended a lot on compute shaders. So I did a lot of compute shaders back in Unity. Haven't really dove into compute shaders in Godot yet, but I think we're gonna get there eventually. So like if I go object, crew member, scene. So here on this little guy, we should have a material that we can use for this. Quick load. Huh. We have a shader for this character. I swear it's around here. I really hope I didn't delete it on accident. I very well might have. In which case we have to remake it. Oh, well, we don't have it anymore. Well, we wrote a whole outline shader. It's got to be around here somewhere. Here it is. Where are you? Show in file system. Oh, you're just in the object folder. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's put this on here. Load. Object. Is this not how you load a... Do I have to make a new material and apply the shader to it? Shader. Quick load. Outline. Ooh, that's not it. Maybe it's a canvas item? Huh. Well, I don't remember how we set this up, but we have some shaders. We've done some shading. We have a very stupid shader at the moment. I kind of like Godot's shader editor. It's like simple, but it works. Rhiannon Journey, is it the outline shader you're talking about the other day? Probably. Shaders are crazy though. There's some incredible stuff you can do with like a fragment shader especially. But I like compute shaders. There's some things we might end up doing with compute shaders. I need to set this back up so that it works correctly. Don't save. Because that's how, that outline is how we do like selections and stuff on characters, and we use that for a lot of things. It's not set up right now. What do we actually need to do? Go back to our code editor. Yeah, I'm kind of scatterbrained today. I mean, I'm kind of scatterbrained every day. But are you working with some shaders? Still needs work? So if we go back to what we were doing, which is taking as much of this as we need. So here we iterate through every area. We loop through the block volume to determine each potential tile's hull type. We don't need to do this. We don't need to do any hull type stuff. We potentially need to do a cutaway. I'm actually not sure if you want to cut away a selection grid. I kind of do. So we'll need to think about that. We might end up doing a cutaway for the grids. Because if we don't, I think it would look a little confusing. All right, second pass through the holes to determine source ID, atlas chords, and alternative tiles. This is basically what we're doing. Just this part. Just the setting up the tile data part is all we need to do. So first thing we do is establish a count. This should not be hard-coded, but it is. Counts should be levels times layers. You were watching a streamer getting frustrated with shaders. That is it. That is the way. They're very powerful, but they are frustrating. Like, programming in shader language can be weird sometimes. I'm not an expert. Don't think that I'm an expert. All right, so we just do this simple stuff. So we have the hulls, try get value. So we don't need this hulls intermediary. We can go straight off the block buffer. So when we do this initial loop, we do this. We go area by area, and then we go iterate from the start to the end. So here we're going layer by layer in terms of a Z index. And then we're going layer by layer in terms... So we're going level by level and using this. And then we're going layer by layer. Here. That's each of these loops is one layer being processed. Do I need to do it layer by layer for the... Can I process each layer simultaneously? We're really just checking neighbors. So we'll draw outlines. It's basically, we need to check for edges. Convex edges. Because that's what we render when we're talking about the selection outline. We have this block-like structure, and all we're really rendering is white outlines that may be dotted or not, or solid, depending. And we're rendering those on the along the edges of a block-like structure. That's kind of what we're trying to achieve here. So what we're doing is actually a lot simpler than this, because this is a whole rigmarole of figuring out, like, what hull type is it? What's the hull type of the neighboring pieces? Are we talking about floors? Are we talking about walls? Are we talking about doors? This is a very complex thing that we don't really need to replicate, but there is some stuff that we need to do. We could store lines in here, because we actually only need to process. What we should do is actually we should have a dictionary that only includes blocks we need to render. So this should be a filtering phase. So let's go up here. I think I already created a lines. No, I created a list called grid tiles. We don't need this anymore. What I actually want, private read-only dictionary, vector 4i. This actually might not need to be a vector 4 because the W component is for the layer. No, we do need the W component because we have 3 layers we're processing. What are we even putting in here? A tile, I guess. You can call this lines, maybe? Honestly, this doesn't need to be a dictionary. This could just be a hash set, probably. Actually, we want to know a little bit more. In the same way that we have this whole piece, we want to kind of know what kind of line it is. Like, we want to know where the neighbor is. We want some structure here. Because we want to know what kind of edge piece this is. We don't want to have to include all that information. We just want to be able to encode it. So we know we're at one of the outer edges. If we basically just need a bunch of criteria to disregard, or to let us know if we can disregard this, a specific one. So let's work more on the iteration. So what we're going to do is we're going to have... So we're passing in the grid bounds. I don't know if that's actually something we need. We're basically replicating our update tile data map, our tile map data function with less. Yeah, let's just do it this way, actually. So instead, it's gonna say this. And then let's set it up like we do up here. So let's at least just do the first thing. Sorry, I haven't planned any of this. I haven't really been in a planning kind of mood. So we do want to know the start and the end. Do we need to know the area? Oh, the area is the Z index, so yes, we do. So we do want to iterate through each Z area. That's the easiest way to do it. Okay. I mean, we probably could do it more randomly than that, but this is probably the best way to do it. What do I need this for? Oh, I don't actually use these for anything. Okay. Bounds is default. What is bounds? Bounds is just an AABB. Okay. Rhiannon Journey. Planning is overrated. Just write something and run until it works. Yeah, exactly. We will do more and more planning as we get going. As our deadlines become more concrete, our level of planning will increase. But as long as we're kind of nebulously working towards an end, we're kind of just doing it. So counts as levels times, so it's going to actually be grid levels, grid layers. And then so what we're going to do here is we're going to go through each grid level. So we have our start and we have our end point, which is actually the same with Z equals area. Seems fine. So this is our AABB that overlaps all the blocks that are not empty. This is interesting. So we're actually going to use this for one of these. Otherwise... Let's actually start doing this. Start with the easiest thing, which is actually just rendering the bounds. Let's start with the bounds. The used bounds. So we get the bounds here calculation by default. And can we just get this? Can we just evaluate this? Let's call this something else. Let's call this like auto tile. Is auto tile one word? I think it's arguable that it's one word. Auto tile used bounds. Do you want this to be 2 words? Okay, yeah, you don't consider that a word. Okay, let's do that then. Okay. So what we're going to do is actually, for this purpose, we're just going to process the used bounds. Will that work? That would work, but again, we're moving away from... I want a general solution. I want a general solution, not a specific solution here. So actually, update tile map data. What I need to do is actually, I need to separate out the auto tiling of the ship itself, like the ship hull pieces. I need to separate this stuff out from auto tiling other things. I need to be able to define like I need to separate the specific parts of this solution from the more general process of how the auto tiler works in a general sense. And that's my struggle today. Because I talked about why we don't want to just process an AABB. We don't want to just process an AABB because that does not get us what we want. But you know what? It's probably a good way to start. So what we actually need to do is we actually need to make a block buffer. Is it going to be a block buffer, though? Like, does it need to be a quote-unquote block here? Or can we do something? Can we get away with something a little different? Because a block has a series of forms. Empty, deck, bulk, both, door. Solid deco. Do we just make a form that's like a line? No. You can actually do something simpler than this. I almost want to make a version of the block that's just like a bool. It's not even like a thing. It's like just like a, is this space occupied or not? Or like, is this part of the space that we're considering? I think that's what we want to do. In which case it can just be, could be really simple. This is going to be inefficient, but I'm okay with this being inefficient. Because this actually doesn't need to be that complex. So we're just going to treat this as a generic buffer. So when we create a buffer, do I actually care what kind of buffer it is? We store them all in the same place, right? Yeah, T1, T2. T1 is an unmanaged value. T2 is also unmanaged, but it's also an iBuffer component. So what does an iBuffer component have to have? Just a buffer ID and a length, and an implementation of read-write or read-only span. So we could make an iBuffer component that's literally just like very simple. One inheritor. So block buffer, you're an iBuffer component for block. I guess we do want to just use a block buffer. And potentially a block. That just means we have to add a form for what we're doing. I use solid to define something that's both a floor and a wall, so it's like a solid piece. But that's maybe not great. I don't know how many times we actually use this specific thing. The easiest thing to do is to just make a form. That's like part of my brain is screaming at me to just use AABBs and don't waste all of this space trying to waste all of this memory having like a block buffer that just consists of big homogeneous cubic bounds, like big cubic objects that you might have more than one though in the case of like the shift click, like I'm saying, like shift select, like you're adding things to your selection. If you're adding things to your selection, you'd want your your selection box, like your little dotted line or solid line selection box showing what you have selected, you'd want that to be able to form something that's more complex than just a single box. And like that could be done with just AABBs. And honestly, that's probably what I should do, but it would just be easier to do it the same way that we do blocks for like building out the ships, like the ship hulls. It would just be easier. Let's at least prototype it just using the AABB, because that seems like the most straightforward thing to do right now. We could also just... No, we can't do that. My desire to be able to capture this compound selection thing is pushing me in a certain direction, and I think I just need to go with it. Because it's wasteful, but it would also be easy. And I think that's fine. This is one of those cases where doing something inefficient is, I think, at a scale where it won't matter for performance. So I don't think I have to care. But it does mean I need to create some kind of storage structure that we can use in a similar way, which makes me think I should just add a piece onto the block. Whatever. What the hell? Let's add maybe select or something like that. No, not select. It needs to be more generic than that. Maybe like debug. Oh, this wants to be a separate thing. Maybe this should just be a separate thing. It's going to be treated separately. So what we could do is we can make a block buffer. We can make something like a block buffer or an iBuffer component that's really, really simple. So instead of block buffer, it does need to have an AABB, so it does kind of need to be like a block buffer, but it's not going to consist of a block. It's honestly going to be like a block buffer that's like just going to be like a bool. It's going to be so stupid. It's like, is this space occupied or not? And we could achieve a similar goal with like a hash set or something like that. But we want it to be within the kind of... We want it to work kind of like the way everything else works. So let's go to buffers. Let's go to ECS. Let's go to component buffers. So instead of a block buffer, let's make a new one. We're going to call it... I'm just going to call it space buffer. Do I just want to do this with the block buffer? It would be so easy to do. We could even just interpret the same block buffer. Yeah, let's do that instead. That'll save us on quite a bit of memory. Because then we just need to iterate through the block buffer for some of this. And actually it'd be useful for the block buffer to know which blocks have been selected. That actually would be quite useful to know that. So let's do a couple things. Let's add some forms. So we're going to say, yeah, let's add select. Why not? Equals 16. I'll probably rearrange these at some point. It's a little scary because there's already 145 usages of them, but most of them shouldn't, almost none of them should care what the actual number is. I just have to keep that straight on my end. So let's talk about, so let's hold select. So its form is select. It should probably be like selected. Kind of weird to include this in forms. We could add a block. We could add an is selected. Or we could, yeah. Do like public bool is selected. Form is equal to forms.selected. You need caffeine? You're not doing good? Oof. Go get the caffeine. All right, so we're gonna see if this is like, maybe I just say selected. I don't like is selected. All right, we're gonna try this. We're gonna try to use the very block buffer. What are the consequences of that? Of using the very same block buffer? As long as we're writing to a different tile map, which we technically wouldn't even need to do. We could, no, we should write to a different tile map. No, we could write to the same one. Or not the same one, but we could include it in the structure. No, this is fine. All right, so we have our block buffer. What we're going to do, we need a process for, well, we need a couple things. First, let's start with the easy thing, which is going to be going through the tile system based on this bounds and just rendering it out. That should be easy, but we don't actually want to use the bounds. Oh, we actually do. So that's going to kind of suck, but okay. In terms of performance, that's going to be kind of rough, but this is a good place to start. This is a good place to start. I'm going to call this auto tile used bounds. What does this need? It needs block buffer. I actually don't think it needs block buffer, but maybe it does. So when I ask for an AABB, when I iterate through an AABB, what is it doing? We're just going through each. Okay, so maybe we do that. I'd rather do that than do this list thing. Than build a list and send back the list. Hey, no Jewel, how's it going? Maximum warp. So what we're gonna try to do here, then, down here. So we're gonna auto tile used bounds. This is gonna be relatively easy, I think. Hydrate, thank you for the hydrate. I don't know, I think I need some caffeine too. I might get some after the stream. I gotta do some laundry. There's a coffee shop right next to the laundromat. Maybe I'll just stop there. I should have lunch, but we'll see what I have. I might end up having just like a coffee and a snack. Oh, and the stretch. Forcing me to take care of myself. I haven't experienced quite a bit of back pain that I attribute to being a largely static person. No, Jewel, wondering why you need to look if it is you warping in. Wondering why I need to look if it's you warping in. Yeah, that's I mean, that's the thing about warp is you know, you're traveling faster than light. So, you know, you get here before I can see you. It's tough, it's confusing. There is yoga centered around computer users. Oh, I should look into that. I got a referral to some physical therapy. I just need to get it set up and get doing it. I used to try to do Pilates, which I should honestly go back to doing. Just requires a lot of floor space and time. All right, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna use our bounds. We're gonna iterate through our bounds. We're gonna say for each vector 3i coords in bounds. So we're gonna go through each of these. We can store a couple of these variables. We can say, actually, we can just use the, well, we could store them. We could say vector 3i min equals bounds dot minimum. Yep, let's store those. So we're basically iterating through each set of coordinates. If we're at, well, yeah, we can make some presumptions here. Do I do any sport regularly? No, I do not. I have I used to do more bike riding around, like mountain bike riding. And I have a lot of nice little places around here that I could do it, and I do not, and I need to do it. Oh, anonymous gifter. Anonymous gifter with the tier 1 sub to No Jewel. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Too kind. Look at that shiny sub badge. I actually just added the 2-year sub badge to this channel, even though we're barely at the 1 year. We've got people with the 12 with the 12 month. Do I have the 12 month? Let me just ship it real quick and see what's going on here. Yeah, so I have the 1-year badge. I just added the 2-year badge, which is silly that it unlocks so early. We're not going to need it for another year. But it's kind of wild that we're at that point, that we've gotten to that point. We've been affiliate for a year. I guess I wasn't streaming when it was my affiliate anniversary. Thank you. Hey, Fusionist. How's it going? All right. So this is what I was talking about of like a really inefficient way to do this. But I'm going to do this right now because eventually I want this boundary check thing to be maybe a little more precise. But right now, or this boundary the thing that we're generating, right now it's just an AABB, which we should be able to iterate through an auto tile super easily. And in fact, the way that I'm doing this by iterating through coordinates is like really inefficient. I should be able to just iterate along the edges. But I'm trying to work through the process that we're going to do more generally anyway, so I want to figure this out. Because we're eventually going to be auto-tiling selection grids that are not just simple bounding boxes. After 12 months, technically, it's the second year. True. They won't give me the 2-year badge until this time next year, though. We're good. We're good, Fusionist. This is probably our last day working on the game here before we switch to Ludum Dare mode. Ludum Dare starts Friday. So tomorrow we're probably going to do some preparation, and then we're just going to do another Ludum Dare marathon over the weekend. I should be more nervous because I know what's involved in that. We're going to basically stream for 24 hours over 48 hours. Over like the 48 hours of the jam, my plan is to stream for like 24 hours of it. And that's going to be crazy. And we're going to make a whole game from scratch, and that's going to be crazy. But I'm kind of just YOLOing my way in there. I mean, we're going to try to do some prep work tomorrow, probably. Actually, that's really going to depend on whether I can finish this today. We'll probably do some prep work tomorrow, no matter what. But whether we dedicate a whole stream to prep work, we'll see. Need to sleep? I know. I need to sleep now. I need to be rested for the event, is what I need to do. Compo? Yeah, Fusionist. Sorry, I forget that there's a regular version of the jam, because I only do the compo. Yeah. We'll be doing compo. So yeah, we have 48 hours. We got to do it all from scratch. We got to do it by ourselves. How much prep work do you do? No, not 24 hours, no sleep, still needs work. It's like I have 48 hours to make the game, and I'm going to probably be live for 24 of those hours. So I will sleep and rest and do other things during the other 24 hours, but how much prep work do you do? I kind of just make sure a window opens. Yeah, I don't do a lot. I want to look at, I wrote a code template after the last Ludum Dare that has simple things like scenes for like a main menu or stuff like that. And like, I want to look at that and see if there's what we can do in advance, because you're allowed to bring in code like that. And so I want to at least try to start working towards having a template. Hey, Diginanigans, how's it going? You're not sure how much of the stream you'll catch? You'll try to pop in and say hi. I appreciate that. Yeah, we'll be going the whole weekend. From Friday evening till Sunday evening. There will be a lot. There will be a lot of activity. But yeah, I should be more nervous. I should definitely prep more. But I'm kind of just going to do it. We're just going to kind of see what we get. Try to underscope. We'll try to be good about it. Yeah, it is exciting. I have some work I need to do tonight, because I did say I want to put up the remastered version of A Following Wind before then. I don't know, this weird song that's playing. Here we go. All right, so back to what I'm trying to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to evaluate the different kind of edges that we've reached, and we will assign different, so we're going to say, can we just reuse the tiles dictionary? We just use that for this function, right? Can I just reuse this thing? Yeah, we can. Okay, so let's start with that. So we're going to say tiles.clear. then we'll use this tiles thing. So if none of these coordinates are on the edge, we just continue. We actually need 2 or more of them to be at the edge. We need either X and Y, X and Z, or Y and Z. We're only interested in edge pieces for this purpose. But we actually need to know, so maybe we can I do something like this? Can I do like case can I do something like this? Well, I don't know if I want to do it this way. So like, what if I did it like this? What if like X was Y and max was Y? No. Max. I can't refer to this, can I? Oh yeah, I should be able to. Max. Can I say like max.x, max.y, and then can I discard? Oh no, I can't because it's a... I feel like I could do this with match. With match and Godot, I could do something easy. Tune your mandolin. Yeah, that's another thing, Smooth in a second, we got to set up. We got to figure out how we're going to do the music this time. Fusionist, you had yours for years now, but your philosophy is to limit the number of screens as much as possible. Games that are one screen are very elegant in jams. Yeah, I agree with you, but I've had problems with that. I've had problems with that elsewhere. Like you need to be able to have a tutorial or like maybe a menu. So like you still need to be able to like insert these scenes. And I like using like a scene stack. So I think we're going to set up some kind of stackable thing like that. Still needs work. You heard of something... You're stoked because it's supposed to be similar to Substance and you don't like Adobe. Oh, you found a plugin for Blender. Oh, nice, nice, nice. But yeah, I'm not sure how we're going to do the audio. Not sure how we're going to do the audio for this game. I should try some DAWs, but I think we're going to end up just doing it all physically again. I did really enjoy doing the Foley art for A Following Wind. I enjoyed, like, moving stuff around to like make the sound of like waves and stuff like that. I enjoyed that. So we're probably gonna just do Foley art and analog music again, because I didn't do what I said I would do, which was like practice how this was gonna work. Oh, it's called... So I thought that was a typo, but because I didn't know how to pronounce that. UCU Paint. Oh, UCU Paint. Okay. Cool. I wanted to practice a little bit with a block bench too, but I think we're just going to do everything in Sprite. I think we're going to do a very simple 2D. Whatever we end up doing is going to be really simple, really 2D. All right. So here's the thing. I just want to check for whether we have a certain combination of coordinates. And the best thing to do would be something elegant, and the simplest thing to do is just a bunch of if statements. So let's at least write it out just in terms of if statements so I can think about it. So if coords.x is the same as max.x, So this is a case that we would care about. We'd also care if... Oh, we also need to render the back. This is going to be crazy. Getting this to render correctly as the camera rotates around is going to be kind of hard. How do we even handle that here? Oh, it's because we're using relative coordinates. So we actually need to use relative coordinates here too. So we're going to get the relative version of this. So we need the relative position, because that matters. We also need the relative position of these boundaries, right? I don't know why this feels hard compared to doing the hull-based auto tiling, which is way more complicated. But for some reason, it feels harder. You know what would be really cool is if I could get a relative projection of this entire AABB. Let me see about that. Instead of having to do the relative projection, the view relative projection for every coordinate, what if I could project the entire AABB, the entire bounding box? That would be pretty cool. We should probably do that higher up here anyway. So when we do like view relative, we transform. So could I not just do this transform for the whole AABB? By just transforming the minimum and the maximum? Would that not work? I think that would work. Diginanigans, how is your data laid out for your coordinates? Do you have an easy, efficient way to iterate based on the coordinates, e.g. bounds, x, y, z? It's relatively easy. It's all packed into a flattened like array. Like it's like to enumerate it, you just do this. It's just x times y. So like, yeah. So it's relatively easy. Thing is, I'm just trying to avoid having to recontextualize every single coordinate. It'd be kind of cool if we could do this on an AABB level. And I think I could do it, right? I could basically just do this operation on the minimum and the maximum. And that would work. And then I could just iterate through the bounding box normally. So let's see, what if I did this? What if I said public AABB view relative AABB? If so, can you not just loop through bounds xmin to xmax, then bounds? Can you essentially... Oh, yeah. So we've thought about that. Iterating from the minimum x to the maximum x, and then iterating the minimum y to the maximum y, etc. And you essentially have 12 loops of the exact chords you're trying to get. Yeah. That would work. That would essentially work. The case we're dealing with now is the trivial case, which is we have a single bounding box that we're trying to outline. The reason I'm setting this up in a weird way is I want to handle the case of we're trying to outline like a combination of boxes that are like somewhat overlapping. In which case you could still do the same kind of thing that you're doing, just with extra steps. Like I'm imagining like if you're like shift selecting like multiple different areas, like if you're shift clicking and you're selecting like what may or may not be overlapping regions, we need to be able to process the thing in a different way. But so I have this, so we're doing it more like the way we're processing the whole ship hull, like the way we're auto tiling the ship hull, like we're going through the whole volume and like we're comparing neighbors and stuff like that. Like, so I'm trying to make a system that works in that context that can also handle the simple case we're talking about right now, which is there's one box we need to deal with. So I don't know. I'm probably making it harder on myself trying to do it that way. Your solution is probably the best for at least this use case. The simple case of we just have one box we need to handle. You did a similar thing on your map tool doing edge tracing, but that gets a lot more complex in 3D. Yeah, so we're edge tracing like a 3D series of bounding boxes. Like, yeah, I'm not good enough to be able to do this smartly. So I figured the easiest thing to do would be to just do it the same way that we do everything else. But now I want to see if I can do this, if I can convert everything here. So AABB. So here we would say new AABB. We'd say integer. It would be, we copy this twice. So it'd be like this. It would be abs dot minimum. Actually, we don't need to do it like this. We could just call it like this. We would call it view relative or we'd say view relative minimum, view relative maximum. This will be great if this works. Actually, in this case, we don't actually need to know any of this, do we? We just pass all, we just do it like this. In fact, this is so dumb that we might as well just do it like this. I think this will work. I think we can reproject an entire bounding box into a view space, into an out of view space. And then here we do a similar thing, just backwards, just in reverse. But how are you doing, Diginanigans? Why is this not working? Oh. Oh, should we... It should be rel dot minimum. It's not ours, it's... Here it's abs dot minimum. That might work. That might work. Not too bad. A little tired, but good. Nice. Yeah, that is the way, I guess. So what we're gonna do here... So this is a very special case, so we might as well just do what... well, we don't really have a way of iterating the way Diginanigans suggested. We would need to add such a way. What we could do is get the min, get the max, and then do the iteration ourselves here. But do we need to make the whole thing relative? I guess let's not worry about it right now, and let's fix that once we start doing camera rotation. So we've got our min, we've got our max. Now let's iterate through here. So we can say... So we say x is 0, x is, well, we say x is min dot x, x is less than max dot x, x plus plus. And so we want to iterate, so we want to go... So our coordinate is going to be variable v is new vector 3i. It'll be x. And then we should probably start with the minimum of this other two. So we're at the minimum y and the minimum z. Oh, that's a corner piece. And then we just iterate across. Yeah, we can just iterate each edge, like Diginanigans suggested. That's the best thing to do for this case. And then we'll develop the more complex case. When we get there, I need to work out the actual auto-tiling rules because we have a tile map. I made this tile map. Grid tiles. And we just need to be able to map it correctly here. So let's go through, let's start with the bottom pieces. Figure those out. Well, here's where the more general solution would help us, is if we're dealing with weird cases like, what if the used rect is a single square? then it's probably easier to do something else. So we should probably do some, yeah. I need to build up the logic for setting the atlas coordinates based on the position of the coordinate we're talking about relative to the min and the max. So like if the min and the maximum are the same, then we handle it differently. This is what I want to avoid. I want to avoid a ton of like conditional statements where if we just do something stupid that's a little more general of like for each coordinate we check its neighbors and we check to see like can we go this way, can we go that way? Oh, if we can't go that way, then we're at an edge. And if we can't go any way, then we're the only one, in which case, and then we just render a single thing. Yeah, I kind of want to just do it that way. In which case, it would be good to project the entire AABB. All right, let's look at how the regular autotiler works and just try to get some inspiration here. So what we do here, well, here we iterate randomly, which is not the best. We like pull a random key from the list of whole keys. And then we figure out what the layer of that tile is. And then given that, we do a bunch of checking. So we say like, oh, okay, so you're here, so what's your left neighbor look like? Okay, if your left neighbor is a certain thing, that affects our atlas coordinates. If your right neighbor is a certain thing, that affects our atlas coordinates. If your bottom neighbor is a certain thing, that affects our atlas coordinates. Like, and the way that works out for us in some of these cases is like for this, it would be like, if you're at the boundary, if you can't go in any direction, then you're this tile. But if your negative x is open, like if your negative x neighbor exists, like if you're not at the negative x edge, so if you're not at the minimum x edge, increase atlas coordinates y by 1. If you're not at the positive, if you're not at the x max, increase the atlas coordinates by 2. And then if you're both, you just do this. So I think I will have an easier time if we just do a full iteration and figure that out. And then so the x one is like, is your y minimum? I mean, doing the loop is also a pretty good idea, because then we could hard code or we could figure it out. But we'd still need to do, like, if we're hard looping through all of the like lower, through like a specific edge, then we still need to inquire about neighbors in the other direction. We need to make sure, we need to check to see if min is not, I guess all we need to check to see is we need to make sure min is not max. That's all we really need to check. Because if min is max, then we're just talking about a single block width. And if it isn't, we've got some arbitrary amount. So maybe we can do it this way. So if v is some x with a minimum y and a minimum z, then so if we're at the minimum point, which is the back center, then what we want to do is we want to say, then we just check. So if we're iterating through that edge, that back edge, and we're just iterating across x, all we're checking, well, I guess we need special case for the, do we need a special case for, I don't know. I'm having a harder time visualizing doing it this way versus just iterating through all the coordinates and then just checking the neighbors, which is the stupider way to do it for sure. But I'm having an easier time visualizing that in my head. So then for each of these, we'd basically say, we'd say tile, we'd say variable, say vector2 I atlas coords. And then here we're gonna say, we're gonna iterate through here and we're gonna say, we're gonna basically say if coords.x, let's handle the x coord stuff. Whatever works and gets it done. If it becomes an issue, refactor later. Thank you. I'm not kidding. Like, I am always stressed out about trying to find a respectable, correct way to go forward. But so often, the first iteration needs to just be what works and what you can knock up quickly. Because it's probably not going to last very long anyway. Okay, so for x, so we're only going to worry about x modifications right now. So for x, we check the negative x neighbor. We check to see if we're at x min. If we're at x min, we add 1. If we're at x max, we add 2. Okay, that's easy. So if coords.x is equal to min.x, then atlas coords plus. Oh, atlas coords dot x plus. Atlas coords equals atlas coords with x equals atlas coords dot x plus 1. That's so dumb, but that works. Coords dot x is equal to max dot x. We do the same thing. But we're not minusing 1, we're adding 2 plus 2. Diginanigans shouldn't be something that would be hard to refactor anyways. It looks like it doesn't really have side effects. One would hope. One would hope. Yeah, this is just the final step for like determining the tile map, so should be fine. This case is the easy case though, again. This is the case where we don't actually have to look at the block buffer. This is where we're drawing a box around the entire used volume. So so if we're drawing different layers and we're drawing different rooms and whatever, there's a final big volume that's like, here's the volume of all the space that we're using over the whole thing. And this is that volume. This is the AABB, and we just want to draw an outline around that. Gustavo, how's it going? How are you doing? It's been a minute. We're frantically trying to get some work done before Ludum Dare starts on Friday, and we get distracted. All right, so that's the X check. Now we need to do the Y check. So for Y, it's, are we at Y min? Oh, here's an easy one. This actually needs to be brought inside the loop here. We're going to say if coords.z is not equal to max.z, or and coords.z. Well, no, that's not right. We need to think about the different layers. We're also doing this in 3 layers. We're doing the top, the left, and the right. So it actually matters what layer we're doing. I would rather not iterate through this 3 times. I would rather do this in like 3 steps here, but we'll see. It's probably easier to just do an iteration, just do a full loop for every layer we're talking about. Doing fine, debugging some C++ at work. Nice. We're doing some really dumb stuff trying to re-engineer how our autotiler handles like outlining. We're running headlong into my lack of preparation mixed with my lack of skill. And we're kind of just struggling through it. Max 01001000. Thank you for the follow. Really appreciate that. How's it going? Welcome in. We're working on kind of an FTL-like, an isometric 3D kind of FTL faster than light style space game, but we're like really deep into the editor tool that we're building to make these little ships and make these little interiors. We're building our own little in-game editor tool for that, and we're digging into some stuff with that. But appreciate you coming in, hanging out here with us today. All right, so we've got the X stuff figured out. So the Y stuff I just talked about. It's if min Y, it's not equals. If we're not equals, if we're not at the edge, we add this. So same here. So if coords.y is not equal to min.y, then it's atlas coords with y equals atlas coords y plus 1. Look at that. Look at my little AI code helper just figure this stuff out. And the thing about this is we're talking about the bottom piece. So for this layer, actually, here's something we can do. Okay. Here's an optimization we can make for sure. You can say if coords.z is greater than min.z. Continue. Fusionist, you're reminded of a friend who tried an experimental Copilot over a year ago. It would hallucinate paragraph-long suggestions sometimes, just of gibberish. Oh man, yeah, ours is very constrained. I think JetBrains is. I think the little writer AI is good. It seems to only really look at my own code, so it helps me with boilerplate, but that seems to be about all that it does. It doesn't seem to be pulling in suggestions from some kind of like database somewhere. It seems to just be like, I see a pattern of what you're doing here. Would you like some help with that? And that's nice. That's nice because we're doing an ECS kind of thing anyway, so we have a lot of boilerplate in our code in a lot of places. All right, so this is going to be layer 0. This is the layer, this is the Z layer. So this is the Z layer. Is there anything else I need to think about for that? Wait, how do I do the top and the bottom? I haven't thought this clearly. How do I do a full block this way? So let's say we're drawing here. Let's say we've got, let's say we're making, let's say we've got this. Let's say we've got this stupid thing here. So we draw this. Then we draw, we grab the opposite of this. Got this thing going here. Oh, do we not draw a bottom? Is that how this works? We actually draw just the wall and the top? Okay. So we're not drawing the back of these selection boxes at all the way I've envisioned this, which is not how I want to do this, actually. This is unfortunate. Maybe this one I do actually want to just treat as a cube. And actually do the cubic version of this instead of this version. Instead of the outline version like this. Hey, Anonymo239. Welcome back. How's it going? I think my audio is peaking out all the time. I mean, I have a limiter that's like prevents it from actually happening, but I see myself hitting the limiter all the time. I need to like move. I'm using like a new audio filter and I feel like I'm too close to the mic now, which is cool. All right, so here's an unfortunate consequence of the way that I decided to do this. I can do this. I can do a block, but I can't render the back of it unless I did it differently. Maybe I want to do this differently, actually. Maybe I can do this. Maybe I can get away with doing this as a single block. What do we think? You do 6 checks. So I would render it. I basically switch over to a system like this. Grid lines, grid tiles. So instead of this, let's expand the canvas here. So 256. Oops, not what I wanted to do. 256. I did it this way because that's kind of just how we do everything else. But this system, this version of it is simple enough that we could just do this. Honestly, we could do it like this. So bring this over, pop this here. Bring this over. Pop this here. What if we iterated all of these? Oh, we need one more. We need the back. I haven't had to auto tile like a somewhat like a transparent thing. Like a thing where you can see through any piece of it like this. You need to basically be like this if I want to do it this way. If I want to have it be the whole box. It would be this or like the dotted version of this, which is this. Whoa. Get me out of advanced mode. I'm not advanced. That's too advanced for me. So I'm tempted to switch to this kind of a system where we're... Oh, that looks terrible. This particularly, the way this lines up here down at the bottom looks awful. Maybe it's okay. Looks kind of weird. This like little donut form that it makes here is kind of funny. So what if I did it like this? What if we did it the whole box instead of trying to do it per side like this? I am afraid of doing that, but the alternative is that we need to... The alternative is not great. The alternative is that we need to offset tiles, because the only way to recreate that with this system would be to basically start building things behind. So instead of building something on the actual block that it's on, you'd need to place it on the block behind it, which I don't love. That's how you would need to do that, and that doesn't even work right because of the way I've done this. Darn it. Wait, why is that wrong? I must have done the offset incorrect. Oh yeah, this is incorrect. How is this incorrect? Who did this? Who set this up? It was me. Somehow I set that whole thing up incorrectly anyway. Okay, cool. Cool. Tight. So if I wanted to do it that way, one, apologies for how bright this is. We're doing this like white on like a gray checkerboard background. It's probably really annoying to look at. I basically need to iterate over this way. So here's like the core block thing. I would need to start chipping away at it. So we'd say... Oh man, that isn't even sufficient. It would be like this. Oop. Be like this. Yeah, doing this transparent is pretty wild. I haven't had to do this before. Where you can see through this thing. So how would I even want to do this? The easiest thing to do would be to do this in 2 parts instead of 3 parts. So we would have the top part be a different part. So we would put them together kind of like this. We'd have the bottom part. So we have the bottom part. Oh, which actually forms the top part all on its own, huh? Because of the way we've done this. So we would actually want to remove this piece. And have this be its own thing. So we'd remove this piece and have this piece separate. What is the size of this? Is this even sized? Yes. Beautiful. Then this way we could iterate, we just need XY iterations in both directions. So I think doing this with 2 pieces would be easier. We have like a top and a bottom piece. Is that really necessary though? Yeah, we could still do this with 1 piece. I think we could still do this with just a single thing. It's just a single tile map. Diginanigans, do you need to concern yourself with what shows behind? Wouldn't you draw the back part, then draw your ship blocks, then draw the front part? Not really. It's all a series of tile map layers, so they will fight and argue over the Z indexing, but that does raise a good point. That does raise a good point. So actually, I actually maybe do want to offset the back pieces to get the Z indexing to play correctly. Because this way, if we do it like this, where did it even go? This way, the Z indexing will be correct because this piece is here, and then the piece behind it is back here. So this will correctly render behind, or actually what it will do is we'll Y-sort with whatever's in front of it. Or it'll Y-sort with stuff, so it'll render in front of anything behind it and behind anything in front of it. So actually, that's a really good point. I didn't think about that, Diginanigans. That's actually a really good argument for doing this offset, this off by 1 thing. Where you actually project forward from the back this stuff. That's actually, I think, how we want to do it. I do need to fix this, though. I've somehow messed up some part of this. Why is this not correct? Why is this way down here? Oh, that's not the right layer. This is correct. This is in the correct spot. Why is the wall? Why are the walls in the wrong spot? That's what I want to know. You're in the right spot here, sort of. Oh, the bottom is in the wrong spot, maybe. No, you're also in the right spot. So there is still the problem of the bottom and the top are arguing over this stuff, but maybe we do that same thing. Maybe we have a maybe there's a positional thing that we need to worry about with that. Or maybe we think about this a different way. What I don't understand is why this is showing in generally the wrong place. Also, why do I need a Y and an X? Oh, I know why I need a Y and an X layer. So these pieces are off and I can't figure out. So this piece isn't off. This piece is correct. This piece is also correct. Why are the back pieces wrong? Why are they rendering so weirdly? I've somehow positioned some of these pieces very, very, very weirdly. They're offset in very much the wrong way, and I don't understand what's happening. So if it's off by 1, and I can't seem to correct it. So here is correct. So that looks correct. If I draw its counterpart here, also correct. This is correct. And then when I try to draw the next layer behind it, then it becomes not correct anymore, and I don't understand. That means this doesn't tessellate correctly. It doesn't totally make sense to me. Oh, I guess it is in line, it's just wrong. What's the size of this thing? I think the size of this is a problem. It's 36 pixels tall. No, that should be fine. I do need to add this little chunk back in somehow. Yeah, this is an odd number of pixels is the problem, the way I've done this. That's my fault. Somehow I've done this in a way that's just busted. It's because I'm trying to do 2 tiles at once. I thought I set this tile map up correctly, which I very purposely did offline to potentially save myself some embarrassment. And that didn't succeed. All right, let's look at this. So yeah, we don't want to do that. So let's undo all this junk that we did. That was very wisely pointed out to us, not what we wanted to do. Probably would have been easier for me to just change the canvas size and not undo all of this stuff. There we go. Okay, so this is wrong. This is 37 pixels tall, which is a problem. This needs to be an even number, which I did artificially. And the reason why that this seems correct is because of this. So if we grab both of these, so we're talking about a wall plus a floor. So we basically take this over here. We combine them, we move it down, create one thing. This is the size of this stuff here. This is it, this is a block. This is a pair of blocks here. Problem is, well, this is 40 pixels tall. So why is this so wrong? We're interested in this piece right here. You're 36. It has something to do with the way I thickened the lines. I did a double thick line for the outline. Maybe that was a huge mistake. Maybe the double thick outline is causing me a lot of grief. And it probably has to do with tessellating this. So if we do this, and then I start thickening the outlines, what do we get? What do we end up getting? We get a weird thing. So this thickens up internally. This also thickens up internally. And now I have 3 pixels. Am I okay with that? I think I am. And is that why that looks wrong? So let's double check this. So this should be 36 pixels tall. over here, this is, in fact, this is 37. Okay, I did this wrong. I did this wrong. This is on me. This needs to go down. Well, actually, this needs to go away. And then come down by 1. Maybe 2. 1 is fine. So this is what this should be like this, 36. Move that up. Oh boy, okay, so I need to redo that for all of these. I need to move all of these up by 1. In fact, I need to move everything up by 1. And then I erase all of this stuff here. All right, I think I figured it out. I messed up the tile atlas. I can fix it. I forgot to move this whole thing up. So this should be 36. It is. So the rest of this can come up to meet it. And then this should also be 36. Okay, cool. All right, I think I'm on it. I think I've got it figured out here. No, I just need to keep removing the tops of this. In which case we're going to have some duplication, but I can live with that. Okay, I think this is correct. We're going to save this, export it. Close this without saving. Ah, all right, we fixed it. It's all aligned now. Well, at least it looks aligned. Let's double check. In which case, we don't actually need this bottom set. We just only need the top set, because the bottom set is actually going to be filled in. There's X. Oh, shoot. It's still busted? How is it still busted? Does this just need to change? Hopefully this just needs to change. Margins. 24. Separation 0. Size 36. Size 36, margins increase 28, separation 0. I think this is, oh, that's not quite it. Why is that not quite it? These are correct. This was offset. Oh, I see a mistake I made. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, this looks correct. Why is this gap getting bigger down here? I've made this really hard for myself. Let's add grid. Grid settings, 16 by 36. We're gonna need to add an offset. Yeah, we need to add. Be nice if that didn't go away when I was writing on it. 8. Let's say -4. Not quite. -6. Maybe it's a -8. -8. Yeah, this. So why? Oh yeah, this is off. What in the? So this is correct here, and then a wrong here. So I guess let's just simplify that. Well, let's also fix this stuff. And then you move up, or your whole row here. I really hope it's the whole thing. You move up. You also move up. Okay, I think I've got it. Famous last words. The hell is this thing overlapping 2 layers? Let's worry about the dotted lines later, I guess. I think I erased this. I think I erased this. Something's weird with the dotted lines. We might need to remake those, but that's fine. As long as the solid lines are right, I can live with it. All right, did I do it? Looks like very possibly. Might have actually gotten this working, at least for the solid lines. Oop, it's a little off on this side. Why is that? Oh, it's a little off on both sides. Oh, it's 1 too low. That should be easy to fix. Yeah, I am muted. Thanks, Smooth, in a second. You know me. Always be muting. But I think we figured it out. We figured out the solid lines. The dotted lines, I want to check and make sure that they are correct. I gotta reset these IDs here. Is this in line with what we're doing here? Floor, side, floor, top. Okay. So we can do something like this. Okay, so we can make a solid box like that easily enough. Obeys all our rules. It tessellates correctly. And then if we want to make a dotted box, this is where I'm less confident. I think I haven't set this one up correctly. So we get this. And we get this. And then for Y, we go over here, grab this. And for Z, go up here. Grab this. And this. No, I guess it's okay. So we've got solid and dotted boxes we can do. I don't love this. Wait, there's a 2-piece gap here and then a 1 pixel gap here. That's weird. It's because there's an odd number of spaces between them. I guess there is. Thanks, Rhiannon Journey. I don't love that. I don't love the 2 pixels here, 1 pixel here in terms of spacing, but I don't think we can do better because of the way we're drawing this. Oh, this is a little weird. Maybe we can do a little better. Maybe we can't. It's weird because we didn't have that problem when I was drawing this originally. But now we do. Yeah, there shouldn't be a discrepancy here. There definitely is. Diginanigans, if you're able to make it so it's not double wide on that corner, I don't think the 1 pixel gap at the top will seem as bad. Double wide. Oh, yeah. I am not sure we can do that, though. Let me see. So if we wanted to do that, if we were serious about that, we would then need to think about, like, this, the effect of doing this in the back here. So this is this, so one back is you. Oh yeah, there's some not good things happening when you push this to its logical conclusion here. This stuff is offset, which makes some sense, but is also quite bad. This is off. This is the problem. It's off by 1 still on this one. Makes me a little concerned about what's going on here, but... Oh, shoot. How has this gone back to being off again? I thought I tested this. All right, so we have a weird problem. This is actually like crossing over correctly in a sense, but in another sense, it's like not good. Something has to give here, and I'm not sure what. But we're ending up with an off by 1 pixel error. Even though the tessellation is like fine, it's creating a weird effect that is unintended. Oh, I understand what's happening. I understand a bit of what's happening, and how are we going to deal with this? The easiest way to do this is to take control of the Z stuff away from... Right now we have the Z part being drawn along with the sides, but that's what's causing this problem. Nominally, I think. I think we can fix everything else if we get rid of that. We need to draw the Z part. We need to draw this part separately. Or we need to just align it correctly. One of those two things needs to happen. Because yeah, you can kind of see that we're not lined up correctly. Here. It's because we're doing a double outline, but the double outline is always going inside. So we have an extra pixel width, and it's always inside the thing, which is fine, except when you're talking about this part, inside is like different directions. So like inside is this way from the back, but it's this way from the front. Like But when you're talking about, when you're looking at this side piece here, you can't really make that distinction. So I actually need to take responsibility away from the side pieces for representing that. Side pieces really just need to be the sides. They cannot be rendering the bottom pieces as well. Rhiannon Cherney, I'm glad you can visualize this because I can't. I barely can. It helps that I've been staring at it for 30 minutes. So yeah, I think the easiest thing to do would be to just take this bit off and then just figure out a way to handle the Z stuff, which is fine because we're gonna do some coordinate offsetting to draw these boxes because we've said, you know, this stuff that we're drawing in front of the tile that it's placed on. So when we draw the back walls here, we're drawing it on this tile, on this tile behind the box, and it's projecting forward onto the back wall of the box. That's fine. We just kind of need to do a similar thing for the Z, for the top faces. So like having the top here is fine, but then we need bottom pieces down here, and the bottom pieces need to be drawn at like an offset. They need to be like this. Well, I am unhappy with what I've done. We honestly might need a W layer. Like a positive Z and a negative Z layer. Or like Z plus and Z minus or something like that. To handle this correctly. Which is fine. Let's work on fixing this. We can just use this as a visualization for now, and then figure out how we actually want to set that up in terms of tile maps. But that's what that's supposed to look like. So let's just start getting rid of this stuff. In fact, I can do it very quickly and easily. Just get it out of here. I hope this helps. If this doesn't help, I'm not sure where else to go for this. Except to just take on a different problem, as Diginanigan said, which is like making sure everything is drawing correctly on top of everything else, which is the bigger problem if we go with the mono, like if we go with a single tile map layer that's trying to handle the whole block, then it becomes an issue of like, well, how do you draw that correctly on top of everything? All right, what does this look like? Okay, well, I mean, this looks correct. We could trim up the sides a little bit here. This part's not rendering quite correctly. Why is that? The left one is a little too low. This should be higher? That can't be right. Somehow we're getting different behavior between the left and the right, which doesn't make any sense to me. But I guess the final effect is fine. I see this and this is weird. Like, this is being rendered lower on this side. It should be up here on the left side. When I look at the X is not doing that. Oh no, the X is doing that. Okay, I see the problem. This whole thing needs to be raised 1. Which means all of these need to be raised 1. Raise all of this by 1. Export that. Give it a look here. Oh, did I raise the wrong side? Should it have been the other side? Oops. It's this one that needs to go up. Okay. All right. Okay, there we go. There we go. We're getting there. Okay, so the solid line box looks correct now. Now we need to fix this horrible monster that is the dotted line. Let's start by setting up our little... Let's rename this because this is side. We're going to add a couple more here just to make sure that this is rendering correctly. We're going to say add that and then add its counterpart here. And so we need to just get this looking correctly here. So this needs to... What I'm going to actually do is the simple thing, which is I'm going to delete this, grab this, copy it over here, and then change it. And now we're gonna cut the bits here. Hope that there's nothing left over here. There sort of is. Okay, so I can't do it like that. So it needs to be like this. And then like this. Luckily, we can just do a couple of these and test with that. We don't have to test with all of it. Just got to test the first row. Oh, why is that? What's going on there? Oh, is it because I already started that one? It is. Okay. Oops. Oopsies. I was doing the right thing. Got in my own head there for a second. This is correct, though. All right, please. Okay. It's drawing weirdly, but that's something I can figure out. Does that have to do with... Oh, it's probably because this set is not the right. So 28, 1, 16, 36. That's not right. It should be 28, 0, 16, 36. Get that to there. Okay, well now it's weird, but we can fix that. Now it just looks strange. But I'm generally okay with it. It'll look less strange the bigger the, excuse me, it'll look less strange the bigger the box. So if we make a much bigger box, it should look a little less weird, but we could also still make some adjustments. Like, I don't love that these touch. So we could try the opposite. We try the opposite. Which I think would mean moving all of this up. And then... Oh, it's not up. It's not that simple. It means actually doing it like this. It would actually mean replacing it. All right, hold on. This, we're talking about doing this. Can I do it like this? Not exactly. There isn't really anything else we can do with this, because we could try to introduce a gap. The problem is, can't actually get away with that. We can't actually introduce a gap there. So that would be like this, and then this, and then, but this isn't going to meet in the middle if I try to do it this way. Yeah. We got a problem there. Okay, that's okay. I think I can live with this. It's a little weird, but I think it's okay. So... Oh, this is actually really simple now, huh? Cool. We've actually drastically simplified this, because this is... There's no difference between across the Y anymore. It's just the same... thing. Cool. Okay, so we can actually collapse this file down a little bit here. 28. We actually got room for one more thing somewhere. We gotta go back in here and delete a bunch of stuff. That's fine. Yeah, now we have a bunch of alternative tiles that... No. Oh, we gotta do it in here. Remove tiles outside the texture. Thank you. Just do it for me. That would be great. Okay, cool. All right, well, that's simplified that significantly. The consequence is that we need an additional... We need a W layer. Grid layer W. And we actually need to, unfortunately, mess this all up again. Let me erase all this before I do that. So we need 2 Z layers. That's kind of the side effect of this. Which makes sense because we need to render up from the back. Actually, if we're doing it like that, Do we actually need 2 layers if we're doing it that way? Or we just project up from the bottom? No, we just project up from the bottom. That's what we do. Okay. So I don't need a W node. I don't need a W layer, but I do need a source ID for it. So I need to add the source ID back. RIP. That I ended up doing this prematurely, deleting this thing. And if I make you... Okay. I hate messing with tile sets like this. This is one of the things I hate more than anything. So you're going back to being 5. You're going back to being 4. You're 2. You're 1. And then you're 0. You're called solid bot. Solid. Oh, I'm out of time. All right, well, we fixed the thing. We spent like half the time doing it, but that's okay. That means we're probably going to spend tomorrow continuing to work on this instead of doing Ludum Dare prep, which is a bit of a rip, but that's fine. We'll have some time Friday to do some Ludum Dare prep, which will probably just be messing around with like brainstorming and messing around with my code template. Because honestly, last year Ludum Dare brought in a lot of viewership, and I want to be able to demonstrate the project. So I cannot just leave the project in this broken state, unfortunately. Oh, I've realized again, I do need a W layer. What? How did this even happen? I clicked yes, didn't I? Oh, God. Wish there was a button that was just like delete all of these. Oh man, I'm doing bad things here. Just delete that whole thing. I'm gonna recreate that. Oh, I did it again. And when it asks me, I'm gonna say no. No. Do not automatically start doing things. When will the theme drop? Probably, I mean, well, 6 o'clock my time, which is Pacific time, so 6 p.m. Pacific on Friday. The best you can do if you want to try to figure out ahead of time what the theme is, there's like an exit poll that people will fill out. There will be like, and that won't happen until the final round, so you can kind of get a gauge. But I'm hesitant to rely on that for planning purposes, because we got really lucky last year in that the only theme that we prepared for happened to be the theme that won. I don't think we're going to get that lucky this year. I would be very skeptical. All right, okay, I fixed the tile set. So now what we're going to do, the way we do this then, is if we want to make a box, we do something like this. So we grab our Z bit here, we can place like a corner piece here. We can do like a, let's make a 4-piece box for argument's sake. So a 4-piece box should be a good example. So that's the Z. Oh, I'm drawing the wrong piece. I'm drawing it in the wrong place. There we go, like this. And then W is going to be the bottom layer, so that's going to be, we redraw it here. Oh, we need to switch to this, though. Actually, this needs to be... I actually do need to set the... This needs to be minus something. Like 8, maybe? Maybe 8. Oh, it's not minus 8, it's plus 8. Because Godot. Yeah, plus 8. So what? Oh, here I made it minus 8. Wait, why is it minus 8? I'm a little confused. I guess it is minus 8, even though it's Godot. Super weird. So here's the tile that we're drawing onto, minus 1, 1. I switch to the bottom level. I go to minus 1, 1. I switch to the bottom source ID. I go to minus 1, 1. There we go. Okay, I fixed it. We're gonna need to do some Z indexing stuff to get this to work right, but this should be good. So now we can go here and add our sides, which is actually this piece, and then we go through the same thing back here. We say this piece, and this piece. Why? There we go. For some reason, this is totally messed up for the Y. So this should be going here. Okay, for some reason the Y doesn't make any sense anymore. The X is right. When I try to place these Y blocks... Oh, wait, what the hell did I do? Yeah, if I try to place this... Okay, there we go. I'm just an idiot. No, something's wrong here. Okay, that's correct. That's refreshing, I guess. These two are correct. This one is, what is going on with this one? Here and here. So this tile set, this piece is like very broken. What's wrong with this? 8, 0. Oh, Lord. When did that happen? The dotted one broken too? No. Okay. Well, that explains why I felt like I was losing my mind for a second there. Okay, we can draw a box. We can also draw a dotted box, I think. All right, okay, we can draw boxes. Great. Wow, that was harder than I thought it would be. The task tomorrow is going to be getting the auto tiler to draw these for us automatically. All right, I'm going to wrap it up there. I need to go get some laundry going. But it's been great. It's actually been a really great day. Slow going, but it's been nice having everyone here. Feel like we still got some stuff done. I should actually probably delete this so that we don't accidentally. There we go. Cool. Pick this up tomorrow. We'll write out at least the basic boundaries. I would like to get the selection boxer going, but if I can at least do the boundaries and the mouse hover, that'll be good enough for me. So yeah, we're wrapping it up here for today. We'll be back tomorrow. Hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Super psyched for this weekend. I hope to see some of you there. Yeah, thank you all so much for watching.
Maximum warp.
I will see you next time. Maximum warp. Bye.
Maximum warp.